Hello and welcome back to Scratch Golf Academy. I'm Anthony Vessecchia, TPI certified golf fitness instructor. Today I want to talk to you about the power of ground force and gaining more power so that you have more ground force. During the golf swing, you'll have a bit of lateral ground force, which is when your trail leg will push towards the target, and you'll obviously then have vertical ground force when you're pushing into the lead leg once you get the force from the trail to the front to release that power off the ground, push up into the lower body, and then obviously send the ball towards the target. But the drills that we're going to do today to help with that are going to be a kickstand squat. That's going to help with the force up. And what it also is going to do is allow you to even out your leg strength. A lot of times you have one leg more dominant than the other. So this one is just going to allow them to be equal. The other is going to be a cross-sack squat, which is going to work on some of that lateral push. So it'll be this position and then push back to center. But before we even get into those today, I want to go over the ability to engage the glutes. A lot of times people will be very quad dominant when they're doing leg exercises. And if they do a leg day, all they'll talk about is, oh, my quads are so sore, because they're not really engaging the glutes properly. So stay tuned. The first drill that we're going to do is going to work on that. But before we get to that first drill, there's one other thing I actually want to talk to you about, and that is some of the testing that we do at the Titleist Performance Institute for power and for explosiveness. Now, explosive ground force is your ability to vertical jump usually, and that's going to be at least a 20-inch vertical jump. I know there's some guys that are older that have lost it. Mine's going down tremendously myself, but you still want to keep some of that leg strength. So that would be this next one. You should still be able to get the 20-inch vertical. If you have problems jumping because you have replacements or such, I've said in many videos, you can get in a swimming pool that's about 3 foot, 4 feet, squat down to your chin's at water level and jump in the air. And as you're descending back towards the ground or back towards the bottom of the pool, bring your knees up a little bit so that you don't just land solid. Obviously the water's going to slow you down anyways, but if you bring your knees up a little bit till your chin gets back to that water level again and then put your legs down, you won't get that pounding impact on your knees and on your joints. So if you do have replacements, that's one way to work on vertical jump. Obviously condition yourself up to it. Don't try to explode out of the water if you've never done it before right away. Go in progression. But the next one that I want to talk about is a split squat. Ideally, not everybody's going to be able to do that. Some of you are just going to have a problem being in a split squat or a stationary lunge and do this with no weight. But ideally, you'd like to be able to do at least half your body weight. So 1.5 times your body weight, including your weight plus the weight you're going to use. So I'm 200 pounds. I would grab a 50 in each hand and see if I can perform that 8 times on each leg. If I can't, I know I need to train my legs. If I can do that easily, then I know that's not my biggest problem. I may look at some other areas of my body, but we'll get into that later. That will be another video. So I have a 50 pound in each hand. I would just test to see if I can do this 8 times without any problem. And this is actually not difficult, so I know I'm good there. That would be your first test. If you can't do that, I wouldn't say just grab them, work your way up, start with maybe a 10, just start with no weight, and then progress and see if you think you could do 8 on each side without any problem. Then you know your legs are strong. There's other tests that we actually sell the program to be able to test for some of that with Scratch Golf. You can check on that too. To take you through all the tests to see if you can get through them all. But that's a simple test. If you can't do that, half your body weight with the weight you have there, 8 times on each side, then you definitely need to do these exercises. So first thing I'm going to do is just check to make sure that my glutes are primed and that I can actually use them correctly. So you lay down on the ground, and if you can be in this position, like a bridge position, I'm going to turn sideways for you guys in a second, and you can tighten one cheek and then the other cheek without a problem, and pelvic tilt and lift up and get your glutes fully engaged without your hamstrings engaged, then you're fine. But if you cannot do that, which a lot of people that work in the office and such cannot do, then what you do is you spread your feet out wide like this, and you're just going to push one heel into the floor, then push the other heel in the floor. Keep your knees locked. And if you feel your glutes really engage on that one, then that's obviously good. Then you would progress to putting them to the center, push them both down, right, left. If your glutes are very much engaging easily there, then you would slowly bring yourself up, your heels in like an inch. Try to do the same thing. Right cheek, left cheek, both. Okay? If that's no problem, bring it in some more until you get to the point where you're all the way to this position where you can do a proper bridge. But before you do your bridge, I want you to push your lower back into the floor and then roll your pelvis towards your chin. And if you feel that really good glute engagement there, then you're all set. That's what you want to be able to do, is make sure that you're really mind to muscle able to engage your glutes without any problem. If you can do that, then you progress to squats and things of that nature. If not, you're just going to, many times, not always, you're going to be very quad dominant and you're just going to get so sore here, but you're not building up the glutes. Again, that's mostly for people that had an office job for most of their career, where they were sitting down a lot. The glutes were just disengaged almost all day long. So it's obviously not going to be your first thing that your brain engages when you try to do a leg exercise. So make sure you do that drill, that glute progression drill. Everybody should do that anyways, because in time, you never know. Your brain just may forget. But now the next exercise is going to be a kickstand squat. So ideally what this one's for is just working yourself in so that you're working just one leg at a time. What I mean by kickstand squat is, I'll do it without weight first, is that this leg here, the one that you're not going to put your weight on, is just there as a kickstand. It's basically there for balance. So you would squat down and you make sure that your knee tracks right over your center toe. Okay, you don't want it to kick like this and you don't want it to go too far out that way. So you want to try to make it go straight over it. And the trail knee, again, some people say, don't put your knee past your toe. This one's got no weight on it, okay? And the knee past your toe, you step downstairs, your knee goes past your toe all the time. But obviously not with a heavy load. I wouldn't do that if I had a ton of weight on. But anyway, kickstand squat. So you'll be in this position and you'll drop down. All my weight's on this leg. I'll go to the other direction for you. Obviously, you'd do 10 on each leg is about what I normally do. And then if you want to add weight, you can hold it just like this and put your weight on there. And again, I'm going to go forward so you can see. You want to keep it pretty lined up. Hopefully I am. I don't have a mirror in front of me, but you can see I can take my back leg off the floor, so there's really no weight on it. Now, if you have a problem doing this in general, or you're kind of wobbly, or you're losing your balance, or it's just you can't get this to stop kicking, you can put a chair or something behind you and you can start as that's your point of your first point and just drop to that chair and come back up. Drop to that chair. Now, if you're in your home or something, put that chair against a wall. So if you hit it and you may get tired or you're almost sitting on it, it doesn't slide away from you and you fall. Okay, so you can use that as a regression and then progress up to what I did with the weights. But I would start with no weight. If you have no problem doing this, stay there. If you do and you get wobbly or you have a problem getting down here and getting back up, give yourself something as a stopping point and a guide so you can just focus on keeping this knee aligned. By keeping that knee aligned, that means you're engaging this gluteus medius, which is going to kind of track that internal and external of that hip. All right, so that is the kickstand squat. And now for our last exercise, this is going to be a cross-sack squat. This is going to help with abduction of your hip too, because you'll be this way. So obviously as we step out, that's going to be abduction, and then you're going to get abduction on the other side as well, okay? So, and that's also going to help with that lateral push you'll see when I come up from this. So in this move, I'll show you facing this way so you can see what I do. The leg that is not squatting is going to remain straight. So I'll go out, I'll squat just like this, and I'll come back to center, and then back, and back to center, okay? It's facing you, and I do 10 on each side on this myself. And then back to center. Some people will kick their leg out like this and do things like that. I want your feet straight ahead, and you'll go in this position. And because I don't want your knee also to track out over your foot on this side either. We're gonna drop straight back into a squat. So from the side again, we're gonna go straight back into a squat. Our rear end is gonna drive back. We're not gonna get down here and go so far forward, have our heel come off the floor. We're not gonna do any of that again. Butt back, okay, cross sack. You wanna add weight, you can either hold it sumo style, and that can be your stopping point if you're someone that can't get low at first, just because you're not used to it, or you can go into this goblet. Or you can hold dumbbell. It's entirely up to you, but that's a cross sack. Those are 3 drills. Remember, prime your glutes at the beginning, make sure your glutes are engaged, that you have that brain, mind-muscle connection, basically. So you have that neuromuscular exchange between your brain and your muscles. Go through those progressions. Go ahead and try that kickstand squat. It's great because it evens out the legs. Then the cross hack squat obviously is gonna help with some of that lateral push and abduction. And subscribe, like, all those good things. I'm out of breath over here doing legs for you guys. But please, go ahead and comment on this. I want you guys to say, hey, can you show me more things that work with this, or show me more things that could help me stay in posture during my swing, or whatever it may be, and I will give you some exercises to do so. Take care.